Good morning guys and welcome back to Bareham Engines. Right guys, so as you know I like to do a little bit of a rant every now and again. I like to tell you all the ins and outs of the business. I like to tell you all the warranty jobs and the so-called warranty jobs and all the sort of negative sides of running a business really, and what it's like behind the scenes. We all know what a lot of these YouTube channels can be like. They only show you the sort of glory of running a business and the nice bits, but the idea of our channel really is to show you exactly what it is like to run a business, because it's not all roses. Perfect example, yesterday I had a phone call off a customer, and it was actually a mechanic of a garage saying that we did a cylinder head. The reason the head came into us is it had a broken cam belt. It was a little Ford diesel. He said, yeah, we've put the cylinder head back on and it won't start, and there doesn't seem to be much compression. And I said, right, okay. So I took the invoice number, had a look on our system, and the last job we did for them was at the beginning of March actually. So I'm not quite sure why they'd only just got round to fit in the head, but anyway. So I said, well, on our job card we've got pressure test and reface. He said, right. So basically when we take a job in, whether they ring up or they send in paperwork saying what we've got to do, first thing we do is we write a job card out, and we put that job card in a book with obviously the job card number, who it's from, what we've got to do, etc, etc. So I said, well, in our book and on the job card it's got pressure test and reface. And he said, oh right, no, it broke a cam belt. And I said, well, we only put down what the instructions are. He said, oh, that may have been my fault. But yeah, we wanted it vacuum tested. We wanted the valves vacuum tested. I said, well, I'll be honest with you, I can't really remember doing it. It was sort of 3 months ago. We've done a lot of jobs since. And I said, just have a look. If it had done a cam belt, make sure it's not one of those sort of camshafts with the pressed on lobes. And I said also, just make sure your hydraulics aren't jacking out. So he goes away. Literally about 15 minutes later, the owner of the garage rings up. And he rang up instantly, quite aggressive. And I, as I always do, I try to be as professional, as nice as possible. But he was letting me have it. Basically telling me that we haven't done our job properly. He sent it in to have the valves checked, and who's going to pay for it? I said, well, hang on a minute. All I can go by at the moment is what's on our job card and in the book. And I said, well, who did you speak to? He said, I think I spoke to John. And I said, well, what did you tell him? He said, well, I told him over the phone and I sent some paperwork in. And I said, well, it would be the first time in 20 years that I've been there that I've known John to take instructions wrongly. I mean, John he's quite fanatical about that. I said, I don't understand why you would have told him. He would have read the paperwork and then wrote something down wrong in the book and on the job card. I just don't understand that. He wasn't having it. He said, no, you're not doing your job properly. I'm going to send the vehicle down and you're going to do and pay for the whole job. And I'd be honest with you, the way he was speaking to me, it becomes a point where I try my hardest to be professional, and that's what you've got to do in a business, but I sort of lost it a little bit. It becomes personal. The way he was speaking to me, I don't think there's any point whatsoever. I understand he's frustrated because obviously it's going to cost him. I said, but at this point it's your word against ours. I said, you've accepted the job, you've had the invoice with what we've done on it, you've read the invoice and you've paid for the invoice. And I said, ultimately it is down to you, the fitter, to make sure whatever you're fitting is correct. If I went and ordered a part and it was the wrong part and I fitted it, I'm liable. I said, so don't talk to me like that and don't tell me what I'm going to do. If you want to compromise with someone on the phone or not on the phone, you don't talk to them like that. Otherwise, if you want half a chance of being able to compromise with them, I recommend that you do not talk to people like that. I kind of lost it a little bit, guys. Very rarely I do that, probably 2 or 3 times in God knows when I can remember I've done that, but I don't know whether you agree, but I do think there becomes a point where it becomes a little bit personal, and I personally don't think that you have to be spoken to like that. I normally try and treat people the way I would like to be treated, and that ain't the way to do it. So this all happened 2 days ago, actually, tell a lie. Didn't hear any more once I put the phone down. Then yesterday the cylinder head arrives. I stuck the vacuum tester on it, and one of the pots on the exhaust were very sort of, you got a little bit of vacuum, but they were not, hardly anything. So we took all the valves out. All the valves were straight, bar 2 of them that were very, very slightly bent. So I'm not sure at this point. I wouldn't have thought that that would make any difference to it starting. You may be down on compression on one a little bit, but there was still some sort of vacuum, so I'm not quite sure what happened there. I'm going to have a chat with him. But we're just going to replace those 2 valves and send it back. I'm not sure whether he still expects us to pay for something or not, but as I say, he's sort of put my back up now, so we'll have to see what comes of that. But yeah, let me know down in the comments, guys, what you think, whether I'm in the wrong or what. Right, on a slightly more positive note, guys, we've got the Cosworth here with all the solid lifter set up. Isaac's setting it up as we speak. I'll just sort of show you what we're doing. I know I said originally that we haven't got shims on here, but now we have, and they're a top hat shim. And apparently what people do is you turn them upside down, so you've got the sort of cutout underneath this shim that sits on the bucket. And what we do is we just basically put a very slight bit of super glue to hold it in there. Just makes doing the clearances easy enough. So yeah, at the minute we're not too far out. What we do is we put them all in, sort of see what clearance we have or haven't got, and then basically we remove it off the top of the shim mainly. And then if we have to do a little bit of fettling, a thou here and there, we either take it off the face or the top of the valve. So it's a bit of a slow and boring sort of process, but he's well on his way. He's done the exhaust. I think he's halfway through the inlets now, so hopefully not too long and that'll be done. But yeah, quite a job actually setting that up. Well, guys, really weird actually. But I put the bike back for sale this morning, and I sort of lowered the price, and lo and behold, 2 hours later some guy's come in and he's bought it. We've sort of done a deal, so it's going, sadly, but it's one of those things where, I'll be honest with you, it's a beautiful bike, but I'm just, while it's sitting there, all we're doing is wheeling it in and out every day, and it's, as I say, while it's sitting there, I'm just tempted to ride it, and my missus ain't very happy with that. Although it's a lovely bike, no, I think we'll stick to the kit car. But yeah, so the Fireblade's going later on, guys. Bit of a sad time, really. Right, Mr. Pritchard's bits from DP Motorsport. We've got his standard pistons here. The block is all done, bar putting a thread in the side of the block where the oil pressure switch normally goes for a dash 10 fitting. So I'm going to do that in a minute. He wants to pick all this up later on tonight. So got the standard pistons here. These are the original miles. I'm just putting my pockets in, as you can see here. Just about to do the inlets, done the exhausts, and then that's Dave's stuff all done. So the pressure's off. Well, as you can see, guys, sorry about the racket. Isaac's just pressure washing the cylinder head. The Healy 3000 is all done and looking a lot more fresh than when it come in. So that is going back into its crate. I've just got to do the invoice and get that sorted, and then we can get this thing on its way. So hopefully the owner We'll be quite pleased with that. As I say, all sized, all balanced, the whole crank assembly. Gone through the cylinder head, unleaded, all the rest of it. So yeah, looking lovely. And as I said to you before, this colour I really do like. It's a bit of a Marmite colour for some people, but I really like that colour. So yeah, another job well done. Right guys, this Cosworth here, the one that we stripped yesterday, I got Paul Duff to strip. Just thought I'd give you a little bit of a rundown as to what we found. See the bits of old, the box of old bits there. So the cylinder head is down about 0.8 of a millimetre on the depth, so that's not overly disastrous. He's got a spare head there which is ported, and I said you want to save that and sell it. So if any of you need a cylinder head, there's one down there that may be for sale. So all the pistons, basically when we stripped this down, it was all put together loosely, and so I spoke to him yesterday just to get a rundown of what was actually the matter with it, and he said he's bought a 200 block, which is the one there. It's got the 6 long studs. That's the one we're using, and he's just chucked all these old bits in it just to sort of transport it down really. So from the rocker cover down, the rocker cover is just a donor that he's using just to sort of cover the top, so that's not the one we're going to be using, so we're not going to do anything with that. The cylinder head all looks good. Obviously we're going to put guides and what have you in it and just sort of go through that. The cams all look good. It's on the block is over here, and it's on a 92mm bore. Bit weird actually, because that's Dave Pritchard's was on a 92mm, so we've basically got another set of ductile iron liners which have just turned up, and I'm machining that block out to fit them. So we've got the standard pistons to go in. Standard pistons are over here. There we go. So I'm just putting the valve pockets in them now, and then basically they'll be ready to do a sort of dummy build, just to get the deck height right on them, and then they're all done. The crank, I think John has measured, and we're on 0.25 on the big ends and standard on the mains, and it all measures absolutely fine, not bent or anything like that. So it's obviously been ground, and the mains are fine, so just going to give that a polish. I've ordered up the bearings and all the other bits, so once I've got that block done guys, we'll crack on with the head, but that shouldn't be too long really, that job. Right guys, bit more news on the Volkswagen. Now this is the Golf GTI that we got in the 66 plate, and we had Isaac stripping it a few days ago. Now I was going to tell you about this on this video, but we're going to have to postpone that. I'm going to leave it as a cliffhanger for you guys. As you can see, it's all in bits here. The block's down here, but basically I'm just waiting for a couple of phone calls off suppliers to see what bits are available on this. I'm probably going to be putting it in next video just to tell you all about this, but put it this way, it's not fantastic news. Well, thanks ever so much for watching guys yet again. Feel free to put comments down below on what you think of of today's subjects. Have a great weekend, like, subscribe, and I'll see you in another one. You take care guys.